Good evening to all and thanks. Unfortunately, I had to change the issue of my conference because, as I warned, the betrayal was spread and allowed in Japan too much, and another prime minister was killed. But they prepared that with a deepfake spread and not denied instantly with Kishida dead for a year. I will show you now the baby. All the evil group attacks her day and night, either physically or paranormal and through sorcery. And the pathetics attack her not only as they do us to many babies for stealing them with help of corrupt officials or not, but and for sacrificing them to evil spirits, but also as revenge for telling you the truth. Just a moment, please. Antonia Alexandrina. He wants to remember you and about him. I see. Yes. Another grandpa of her, my late husband. He's okay. It's a good idea. Remember always what the occult group did with him, what they still wanted to do if the divinities will not stop and save him, and what with fakes wanted to do to Japan, and what at level destroyed him, wanting not only to destroy him but through him and fake aliens to destroy both Japan and North Korea, the authors being directly Naruhito, Yong, and the evil occult group. And the occult group who destroyed him, in which Naruhito and Yong both devilish vessels are the most involved, want now again to destroy Japan. So don't allow that, and please watch your children and pray for Antonia Alexandrina. Just a moment. I cannot let her to keep the whole conference. Just a moment. And now I will recommend you to go all, if possible again, to elect a prime minister who to love sincere Japan and to cooperate with you against the lie, against the betrayals, against the dictatorship and against the annexion wanted for Japan by the evil occult group by throwing it in war. Big beware, ask God for light. Even the atheists, if they are sincere, want the good of themselves and of the country, and go and vote from all your heart, preserve what you gain back, your freedom, your country, almost destroyed before, your democratic rights, Don't allow to be destroyed all your work and all my work too, and the death of my late husband to be in vain, and all destroyed, even the last wish of Empress Michiko concerning thought about the defense of Japan, because her last word was about me, and my conscience obliged me to tell you now all that. Otherwise, she will be sad. And now, as usual, the codes and the issues. Andrei Sakharov, freedom of thought is the only guarantee against infecting the mass with infecting the people with smart meats, which in the hands of perfidious hypocrites and demagogues can be turned into bloody dictatorship. Gandhi, no one can ride on the back of a man unless if it is bent. They cannot take away our dignity if we don't give it to them. Bartholomew Valeriu Anania, writer and hierarch, the main strategy of evil spirits patronized by the devil is to create confusion. The masters of lies, who disguise themselves in teachers of meekness, to bring the knave closer, and the same Lucifer has formed, but his tail still pierces in the world, so hatred and created war. Giovanni Falcone, I think everyone must be judged about his deeds. If we will give credibility to the discourses, we will be all good and blameless. Socrates, the best way to live in honor is to be what you claim to be. St. Paul, 2 Corinthians 11, 13, 15. For such are false apostles, deceitful workers, transforming themselves into the apostles of Christ. And no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light. Therefore is no great thing if his ministers also be transformed as the ministers of righteousness, whose end shall be according to their work. Japanese proverb: chasing a deer, you don't notice the mountains. Abraham Lincoln: almost all peoples resist adversity. If you really want to test a man's character, give him freedom, give him power. And those who deprive others of their freedom do not deserve to be free. He who refuses the freedom of others do not deserve it for himself. Nikolai Yorga, historian: a hypocrite has two faces and no cheeks. Aristotle: dignity does not consist in having honor, but in the consciousness of deserving them. Plato: one should not respect man more than the true. Sophocles: empty barrels makes a lot of noise. Japanese proverb: it's enough for a dog to bark in vain to rest will support him. Lao Tzu, Tao Te King, 26. Heart is the root of light. Calm is the master of the movement. That is why the wise man always keeps his seriousness. He always remains calm. What a shame that kings, captains of countless armies rule themselves easily. Superficiality lose advisors. The agitation lose the king. Euripide, it is as dangerous to give a madman a sword as it is to give a villain power. Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. What is the best way to govern? The one who teaches us to govern ourselves. Catullus. I can imagine no greater misfortune for a civilized people than to see in the hands of leaders not only the civil power but also the religious power. Buddha, one is not called wise because he talks and talks again, but if he is peaceful, loving and fearless, then he is in truth called wise. One is not called noble who harms living beings. By not harming living beings, one is called noble. Gustave Le Bon, a dictator is nothing but fiction. In reality, his power is spreading among many anonymous and irresponsible sub-dictators whose tyranny and corruption soon become unbearable. That's it. The last quote, if we add the mention about the huge lie, deepfake and deception, including through humanoid robots and impersonators, can be a definition near to reality of the occult evil group today, nowadays. And don't forget neither what Gene Sharp pointed out. A country's finance, natural resources and production capacities are often arbitrarily plundered by dictators and used to support the dictator's will. Finish the quote. In that case, the occult group want, through deceptions, lies, provokes, and war, to use not a country, but all the world. The survivor, if any, after a global war for the new global order wanted pathetic to them. An order in which Japan is wanted to be disappeared as state on the map and annexed as islands, counties of China and Russia. And now, the issue we will speak if I'm not boring. Again, the new deepfakes, fake news, misinformation, lies and diversion on purpose. And unfortunately, you saw the purpose. Using the name of Kishida, who is dead since a year, but used exactly in the purpose he was appointed. Also, in that purpose, he was appointed when he was alive, as himself recognized before to be killed by those who appointed and used him, to create chaos in Japan, to make provoke through him, to make easier the annexion by having the pretext of those provokes, to destroy the national identity and the democracy in Japan. And he almost succeeded. He destroyed the constitution and your right, all inclusive. And now, by killing again the prime minister after they prepared that with a deepfake about Kishida, dead since a year, but not deny despite my warning, they want to destroy Japan again and to destroy all your work at elections and at referendum through which you saved Japan. But you, the people of Japan, saved Japan through election and through referendum. You saved the country in last moment, and now to spread again miseries and crimes, diversions and lies, including that once about the water of Fukushima for having pretext to faulting economic Japan or allowing through such deceitful pretext China to make even bigger war provokes, and that although what happened in Fukushima are directly involved pawns of the Occult Group from China, Russia, and not only enemies countries, but disgusting pawns of the evil group with big official functions working for Russia, China, and against Japan from two countries claiming to be friends of Japan, but hidden, controlled totally by the evil local group, betraying their countries, claiming they represent us officials and working hidden for Russia and China against the country they rules through deceptions and for the occult group's private interest, betraying the countries they claim they represent and claiming cunning as being friends of Japan, but being hidden huge enemies of Japan and organizing through deceitful officials, even the Japanese traitors, and helping the Japanese traitors in all against the country for the occult, for Russia and for China. Those two countries at rulers level being totally controlled by the group claimed, although they claimed friends of Japan, act hidden cunning totally against Japan as huge cunning enemies and helping the Japanese traitors. One of the two countries I spoke about is South Korea, helped hidden of course by North Korea's occult mob who rule it, is the same group who led the both countries. You remember, Buddha said, an insincere and evil friend is more dangerous than a wild beast, and the other country acting hidden against Japan but claiming cunning their friends, being controlled totally by the occult group, acting harsh against the country itself and also against Japan, involved at Fukushima too, with some traitors, and helping and the Japanese traitors gathered and hidden there. I'll let you guess if it is very easy to remember where the traitor Naruhito did the many crimes done in the whole world, including against some of imperial family, and where he himself said, and the proof is everywhere in Japan, that he gathered, I quote himself, an infinite army. An army against Japan and supporting the occult group composed from local mob allied with Russian, Chinese, South and North Korean, Japanese traitors, Arabs, Jews, Turkish, Jews from the Synagogue of Satan, to mention that, Vietnamese, and many others. United for that only purpose the destruction of Japan and the total control of the world, and helped at the highest levels by the deceitful pawn of the evil local group who rule such a country. Exactly that's why in such a country where many local innocent were killed too by him, and no one reacted, were killed, and the policemen and even prosecutors sent from Japan by Emperor Akihito, Empress Michiko or Fumiko to stop the evil, to stop the crimes against the Japanese, and not only people, done by the traitor, and they were killed and no one reacted, having the protections of rulers at highest level. So, to come back to misery in which were done and said about Fukushima exactly by the cunning of the occult, claiming as friends but working hidden from Russia and China, I think you already recognized the modus operandi of the occult. They create themselves on purpose bad things and an evil situation or other, a damage or a disaster, and after they use that to take advantage of it and to create more evil to a country or to the whole world. Confucius said, "Don't be ashamed of your mistakes, turning them into murder." But there is not about mistakes, but about evil done on purpose. And is not about shame, because the occult group are shameless, and the evil is done exactly on purpose to be cunning, used as pretext to do even more evil, and provoked with what was done by themselves. When he looks to be good, the evil man is at the height of his wickedness, said Publius Syrus. Exactly like that they did with the disease created by themselves. I detailed in many previous conferences, and today I will give another example, not as public as the disease was, but with the same purpose, to fool the people, to fool the world, for having pretexts to take such decisions by creating emotions and scandals and diversion with evil situation created by themselves for real and or in appearance exactly by them, and use it after as pretext to justify restrictions, diversions, war provokes, plundering public wealth, and others like that. And many people still don't occur because they are extremely cunning. But I remember you a proverb very known in Asia. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. If you still aren't able to occur, that's exactly the truth, and that's tried to do and in Japan. I recommend you, as always, to ask God for light, because Japan and the whole world need light from God, the light of the world, not from Russia or from other country, even more not from the evil occult group. When I said the light of the world is God, knowing that
we understand the light we need is from God. For the ones who don't occur, I quote the Bible, John 8:12. So, if we will turn now our attention to the deep fakes and miseries about Fukushima and Kishida, to occur that they created that since the beginning for doing through such pretext even more evil to Japan and through it to the whole world. So I recommend firmly act against any deep fake involving Japan as state. It is done, all are done and proposed like that. You see, to kill the Prime Minister, to undermine the national safety of state, and if you don't react, look the consequence. It has more importance than it is in appearance, and the hidden purpose and cunning plans and provokes are very dirty, as it was, and the cunning plan of Putin and Zelensky concerning the deal calculated war in Ukraine. But in the case of Japan, the situation is much grave because it planned not only the dirty purpose I said in previous conference that Putin, Zelensky and the whole group and their robots and impersonator who from the countries who support that war and are accomplices to all the crimes, to all the murders daily against innocent people from Ukraine, Russia and many others, collateral, including victims done through plundering or house at border, not only in war directly, or even through economical undermining of the countries done with that pretext. Instead, in the case of Japan, it is planned worse, the total destruction of the country. So I recommend you keep the vigilance, vote now and pray before, deny instantly and act firmly against any deepfake or fake news concerning Japan as state, and also make a big protection of the border for being the country safe for all, and check well, look the lack of vigilance where and of decisions firmly to stop the betrayal ends up. And the ones who work in tourism, look well who do you give authorizing for bringing so-called tourists in Japan, and which purpose you saw the consequence. And check any mob who enter claiming they want to visit and or to live in Japan, but with the real hidden purpose to undermine and to destroy Japan, totally not to visit or to live peaceful in it. Kishida proved like that many himself recognized before to be killed that, but unfortunately his horrible deed continued through deceptions and now and very cunning. So I insist and recommend you act unites officials and people with big vigilance, watch and play and defend Japan against the cunning ones until it won't be too late. Another diversions And although hidden plans done while that the occult group gathered in other country, and although using a lot of substitutes, impersonators, and humanoid robots, including fake human clones with fake DNA, because the divinity vessels of the evil occult group plays as gods, considering themselves gods. So they use many impersonators including for Rion, Kil, and Kim Jong-un. All of them was made on purpose to unite all the occult who led now both South and North Korea, but in the last case the common people are pooled, kept in dark and plundered, but dependent of the mafia and totally under the control of South Korea as pawn of the evil occult group who are rulers. The same mob leading to both countries but in a different mode. One of them plundered in their personal benefit on purpose to create conditions for war, and another claiming cunning to be friends of Japan, but led in reality by the same evil occult gang, only on purpose to do either like that or like that, who such provokes war to control all if survivor, and to do only to occult evil group wish, and until then only after war if survivor will be claimed official the annexion of North Korea, already ruled and ruled by South Korea, both acting against Japan and the cunning pass the baton when it's necessary to speak in the name of North, as usual with fake identity, or in the name of South for threatening, or in the last case for deceiving, cunning, provoking, or undermining, hidden, claiming they are friends in the name of South. The occult group, especially the part working for Russia and China, filled the world with impersonator, humanoid robots, and human clones for the Division vassals they erect, including Rion Kil and for Kim Jong-un too. So marvel not about all that, but I recommend you never to have trust in such situation in their deepfakes. And as long as nothing will change, small change to be changed to such ones, even in the final of the revelation it is written that for those who chose on purpose and cunning to serve the evil spirits and to rule people through religion and destroy countries, small chance. I recommend to the officials having in charge the self-defense of Japan in such situation never to make compromises with South Korea, South or North, the same thing, ruled and ruled different but by the same. But in the first case, cunning, concerning the national defense of Japan, never to do that, and never cooperate with the Korean states ruled cunning like that concerning the self-defense of Japan, and never answer at the cunning war provokes done including by using such deep fakes in evil situation created by themselves and their friends of the evil occult group, and proposed to be used after as pretext. And always because the situation is like that, to keep active the anti-rocket shields, to keep active all the self-defense means, even if they will drop bombs to be rejected. They have been warned and they will pay damages, including to the country where the bomb dropped by them and rejected will fall, to warn the people, and in the case of attack, the civilians to be warned in time to take shelter, and the self-defense to be done only internally. If someone dare to invade, the civilians to take shelter, and the self-defense to be totally and the enemy stopped and destroyed on the territory of Japan if they try to invade, but in no case to answer at war provokes, including cunning made, in no case to attack with armies or bombs abroad, and to warn always the people, and in the case of their attacks, to take shelter to civilians, and all the self-defense means to be active. It came the moment to be shown who won the destruction of the world for real, and Japan, with its all beautiful Shinto tradition of the Japanese garden, with harmony, peace and respect for everyone, is not partaker with the occult evil group in the destruction of itself and of the world, of the mankind through it. Japan suffered enough being fooled and plundered in the Second World War through involving it in that, and the consequences are seen until now at Hiroshima, Nagasaki, and in many places, and those who fooled it gained and took advantage through such deception, and Japan was deceived and damaged. So don't forget, you saved Japan by totally destruction in the last moment through referendum and election. You saved also not only the identity and existence of the country prepared to be annexed with all conditions great for that, and you have your country back again, your freedom back again, your democratic rights back again, your peaceful constitution which defend your right back again, your democracy and your country's national identity back again through referendum. Preserve all that. Preserve what you gained through your own work. Especially preserve it against cunning traitors and provokes. With all responsibility, I recommend you to cooperate the people with the officials and use the right you have back again, guarantee through Constitution the right to dismiss the officials which don't fulfill their duty for which they were elected or appointed, or even worse, are corrupted or traitors, acting cunning or not, hidden or not, against the country and for the evil local group and for other enemies. Pray and elect now a sincere patriot as prime minister, who is recommended by his deeds and has no compromises with the political class of the evil occult group. And be beware again of the cunning from both Korea, better said, one, with half a people deceived and plundered and kept in dark and niche by their fellow beings, by the occult evil group working especially in that case for Russia and China's leadership, whose members of the same occult group are too, taking advantage through that group by the annexion of North Korea de facto already done through deceptions, but kept hidden and only de facto, without to be shown officially de jure for being able to plunder, not accuse that part of North Korea, the poor people also, and to use it for starting the world war. And the cunning part of South, claimed as friends, as they claim friends and for Japan, provoke, hidden and undermined hidden Japan state, but claim as friends, being friends to poor Japan, as being friends, involving deceitful through deep fakes, including in fake provoking aliens against nature, with humanoid robots and impersonator putschists through deceptions, thieves of identity and usurpers of official quality against dead leaders whose juridical abilities are zero through that, even if the dead are kept sacred, as they strive even to my late husband, driven to a state of robot ready to be used to destroy both Japan and North Korea too, by leading a fake alliance he was not related to that before, to be his chips taken out. But I repeat, North Korea doesn't exist anymore de facto. That's the reality. But that are the reason for that they don't want to show official de jure the reality and keep lying, fooling and using the people plundered from the part of North in dark and needs to be used and thrown in war. And that's why the devilish vassal Yong, who staged since 2016 his dad to do with Naruhito crimes abroad for the occult group, including at the Mangalia shipyard, where all their mafia was gathered and was led exactly by a cunning relative of him, and where he killed since almost 12 years, and the priest Myung-da-Noh, relative to him, but different than all his relatives. That's why they killed him. He killed him. I know exactly that. That priest saved my life against the killing attempt of the occult group before to be killed. And since then, Yong and all his huge number of relatives born of the occult group and all the sects manipulating from South Korea use, claiming he will be alive, the image and the account of the priest Noh or Nicholas Myung-da-Noh, killed since almost 12 years exactly by him at shipyard Mangalia, in the place without cameras where many people were killed by mob. And that's why Naruhito and his friend Yong filled the world working together for the godfather Putin of Naruhito, filled the world with humanoid robots and impersonators and even human fake clones with the image of them and of Kim Jong-un too, working not only for Russia and for China, especially through the former leader of yours, claimed by the Chinese to be their little dog. Don't allow to be deceived. All the leadership of Korea, de facto not de jure, but that's the reality. North Korea don't exist anymore. It exists only in the mind of poor, simple people, unpurposed, to be plunged, deceived. Simple people, unpurposed, to be plunged, deceived, used, and through these restrictions, thrown in war. So to repeat, all the leadership of Korea, the same leadership, the occult group, either if they speak in the name of North as warriors or as fake communists or as dictators who plunder the people, but the occult plundered, or if the same ones speak cunning in the name of such as cunning friends, who claim to be friends and hide and undermine Japan and provoke war, and through Japan provoke war in all the world, and already brought nuclear discharge near Japan. To say you a funny, sad but funny comparison. When my daughter was little, she saw near the Black Sea a neko, a cat, with two little kitty, and she took in the hand the two kitties to hug them. The both kitty were brothers, but different, having the same mother, who waited with no to have both back, being together the same family. One of the kitty being together the same family. One of the kitty hugged cunning and tried purring and trying to go back to his battle by escaping without my daughter to occur, to make what it wanted, and the other kitty, brother or sister, growled, trying to appear ferocious, to scratch and to bite my daughter, wanting the same thing. But I did that as defense. The common purpose being to be near their neko, their mother, against the enemy seen in a child who hugged them. But in the case I speak now, I think you understand the comparison, why I said that, and why I detailed it was near the Black Sea. All mob of Korea gathered against Japan to make plans against Japan with the cunning help of Russia, China, Japanese traitors, and the whole cooked infinite army called by Naruhito, about which spoke Naruhito himself when he killed their Aiko and Fumiko, and when he fooled the people of Japan with a robot instead Emperor Akihito, who died there on heart attack trying to search the body of Aiko after he found the dead her favorite pet there. So big attention and don't believe anymore. Cunning friendship declaration against the country. Defend the country with vigilance. Don't trust in lies, and defend the country with vigilance and praise to God for light. And don't believe nevermore stories with SF with humanoid robots, impersonator, and human clones, and fake of DNA made by the occult group to fool you, who play as gods to fool, use, and destroy the people and the country you saw many times to results of those lies. Act against the betrayal and defend what you gain back again. The identity of Japan as country who was ready to be annexed, and your democratic rights, your freedom, your constitution, who guarantee your rights for your children, for their future, and for your own future. Self-defend all what you gained through elections and through referendum, and act again with responsibility and unite against all betrayal and against all the cunning or not hidden or not undermining of Japan, and attack it from inside. As Osho said, freedom does not mean laziness and carelessness. Freedom is responsibility. If you don't take responsibility, someone else will do it for you. That's how you become a slave. Giovanni Falcone said, the fact that things are like this does not mean that they have to go like this, but only that when it comes to rolling up our sleeves and starting to change, there is a price to pay, and then the vast majority prefer to complain than to do it. But in that case, after you already saved Japan through your work, the necessary endeavor now for preserving what you saved, you, the people, through your noble work at election and referendum, is smaller than the huge evil through which you, if you don't preserve what you save, you may lose all. So be vigilant and unite, people of Japan. Cooperate with the official for keeping Japan free, for preserving the democracy, your right and the freedom. Act tonight firmly against the betrayal and against the corruption among any official who may be affected, deceived or unproposed, including by using your democratic rights guaranteed by the Constitution you have back again, to dismiss the officials who are traitors or corrupted. Don't allow no one to destroy all what you gain back again, and was before stolen by you step by step by the evil group, and Japan was driven at a step to disappear. And now Big Beaver to what I said about the cunning enemy you have in Korea with that warning. A part of the north where the common people is deceived but dependent on mafia, but the leadership is the same gang. In that part of Asia, the deception now comes firstly from Korea and also in some case from Thailand, Taiwan, Singapore, because China, Russia and Vietnam, spawn of the Occult group, know nowadays that any Japanese in good faith know that them from history that they are enemies and invaders, but not the cunning ones claimed as friends and believed like that. That's why, including the obvious enemies, use cunning them, the pawns of evil group located in as officials in such countries for their own purposes and plans, not only those of the cunning friends who fill the world with humanoid robots and impersonators of the useful pawns and devilish vassals of the Occult group. They beheld all of them. Said George Orwell, the most effective way to destroy people is to deny and obliterate their own understanding of their history. In all the countries controlled by the Occult group, they worked intense for that dirty target. And in Japan, through Abe Suga Kishida and the robot of Kishida under the command of Naruhito, and before that with the help and the betrayal of Masakito Yamato, another cunning who helped him. They worked a lot to destroy the identity of Japan for making easier the division and annexion by his godfather Putin of Naruhito and by China, and after seeing it wasn't finished totally, set up a deceiving dictatorship for destroying the country, preparing it totally to be annexed, exactly fooling the people by using deceitful, the people full, horrible, through invoked tradition. Glory to God, a people who waked up from deceptions and saved Japan in the last moment when they are already sure about their victory, and even they warned me, mocking me about that. And unfortunately, now you are called again to vote a new prime minister because the betrayal was spread enormous in Japan through Abe Suga and Kishida, and now another prime minister was killed by traitors. If you don't come to preserve all what you gained back and was stolen by you before, from you before, was stolen from you, your rights, your democracy before, you will lose all your noble previous work at elections and referendum to have back what was stolen from you. And they want to set up again the lie through robots and impersonator with the image of Kishida and the dictatorship over Japan or its division and annexion. I warned public the new elected Prime Minister as official private he asked not to cooperate with me as official of the throne. I warned public to be denied, stopped and punished any fake news with Kishida because such things are planned and done firstly against the Prime Minister in charge as him and also against Japan as state, having on purpose to destroy the national safety and the freedom of Japan and to set up again in Japan the dictatorship of lies of the evil group of humanoid robots and of impersonator, or be destroyed your right, your freedom, and your democracy, and Japan as state to be divided and thrown in war and annexed by China and Russia, as islands are countries of those states with the huge cunning help of Korea, South Korea, or not the same leadership who command hidden or by with other modus operandi and North Korea. And I warned in vain. I was defied. Unfortunately, look the result. Things were happening exactly as I said. The fake news with the dead Kishida was firstly against himself, and he was as first affected, the first who should react instantly and firmly at any fake news concerning Japan, and to punish immediately the traitors, to give big importance to that, to punish immediately the traitors who want to throw Japan under dictatorship of China and Russia in war. And now I will tell you some background information and real story happened in other country, but despite the appearance very related to Japan and which made much hidden evil to it. I will continue with two quotes which will suggest what I want to see in the following issue. So, as Lord Christ said, "He that hath ears to hear, let him hear." Matthew 11:15. Firstly, Giovanni Falcone. The mafia, I repeat, is not a cancer that is accidentally proliferated on healthy tissue. It lives in perfect symbiosis with a lot of protectors, accomplices, informants, debtors of all kinds, great and small, master singers, intimidated or blackmailed people who belong to all strata of society. And the same mechanism of expulsion is practically found among the Eskimos and other people who abandon the elderly, the seriously ill, the wounded, because they prevent them from traveling to a hostile land, endangering the survival of all. In a group like the mafia, which must defend itself against enemy, those who are weak or sick must be eliminated. And the second, Carlo Alberto della Chiesa. The mafia is cautious, slow, it measures you, follows you, checks you from outside. Another will not notice, but I know this word. I think I understood the new rule of the game. The strong are killed when they become too dangerous, but they can be killed because they are isolated. Finish the quote. Both are related to mob interest conflicts among the same gang, either with weak ones too weak or with too dangerous ones. You have the last example with Abe and Kishida. The codes are not recently, but now we can see the following evolution of the thing. Because now in the evil occult group, the mafia becomes totally disciples of the ram and serve the evil spirits, and the mafia in the occult group is now united with the sorcerer, with the mafia of beggars, drug traffickers, persons traffickers, weapons and organ traffickers, and very important, with the religious mobsters, with the Pharisees who publicly show that what a pious are them, and hide and sacrifice children to the devil, and command all those traffic and mob action, passing the baton when their interests impose that to their friends, blasphemers, and colleagues of the same group to manipulate and fool the people. And now, as Emperor Akihito said, the mafia has no borders anymore. And I add, the whole occult evil group who blackmailed him with the insemination to resign, although he could lead, has no border anymore, and it used directly the evil spirits to devil name the cunning in all religion, and the lie, the deceptions for controlling the world. Now, the occult create themselves bad situations, disease, disasters, and accidents for making scandals and creating collective emotion through them, and after they use the psychological impact and the scandals created by themselves for justifying some decision taken by them. The scandals created by themselves for justifying some decision taken by them against the people, or other restrictions are plundering public or private wealth like that. And after, no one of them, although involved in huge scandals like that, are hard, and the scandal is always quickly replaced with another to keep focused the attention of the poor people, focused on the new, and not to see the new miseries done hidden by them and against the people. Some international background information related to what happened in Japan now, or with the cunning enemy of Japan. I give you some examples about another kind of fake news, those mentioned by the doctor in constitutional law and priest and writer, as at origin Jew, a blessed Jew, not fooled by those from the synagogue of Satan, the wise Nikolai Steinhardt, when he said, "Tyrannies do not forbid the telling of the truth, but only of some, or rather of a certain one, of the one who hears that tyranny." Finish the quote. And indeed, looking countries controlled by the occult group, some of them considered themselves free countries, where are spread penal deeds committed. To give example, as example in United States with Trump, who candidate now and want to be again leader, supported by sects, by nationalist churches, including such. He was supported by the Church of Reunifications, with the sect by the sect led by Tanaka in Japan, who changed name or not. They spread now for making publicities some little penal deeds committed by him. Why do I say little? Because it seems for you to be grabbed simply because in comparison with the monstrous things done hidden and in reality by him, they are little. And also by their friends, as George Walker Bush. Those spreads are little and are invoked only for making publicity to him. The hidden deeds are monstrous, much worse than the little spread. In the case of the devilish vassal and Pharisee Trump, to say now because he candidate, they are spread only to make publicity to him and to hide better to grab ones. Those who work or had worked in the justice knows that as a rule in the world there's a practice to that huge criminals or to the serial criminals when they want to hide for their grave deeds, to stage themselves a little theft, a little penal deed, and to surrender themselves for going in prison, to be followed for that little deed, for hiding like that themselves, not to be revealed the others for diversion or for having alibi, in any case for keeping attention focused in their case on the little deeds, or not being revealed the huge crimes and all the grave penal deeds. But they made circus with little deeds and photos as arrested for making publicity for that devilish vassals, supported including by the sects and by Russia's occult part of the evil group. That is another dirty purpose for making the publicity through such trials for little deeds, in comparison with the not revealed huge crimes done by that devilish vassals and his gang, member of the occult synagogue of Satan, who sent at trials humanoid robots or impersonators with his face to make publicity for elections as persecuted, as victims, to be sure that through such deception will enslave not only United States but the whole world with such candidate if it will be elected, working directly for the Russian part of the evil group. So I think his slogan now is better: make America fooled again. Exactly about such situation, the wise Nikolai Steinhardt, Jew too, but blessed Jew, said, tyrannies do not forbid the telling of truth, but only of some, or rather of a certain one, of the one which hoards that tyranny. So they spread only to prove people that their authors are good and only a little part of the misery done by one of them, as in the case of Trump, working for Russia's occult and also for the synagogue of Satan, and say nothing about the biggest miseries done together with themselves, or about the grave deeds committed organized with the evil group with a complicity of many others, because exactly the mass media owned by the occult spreads such scandals without to show them in its real dimension, because such a thing disturbs their interest if the whole truth would be shown. So the mass media of the occult started as order and such scandals, as in the case of Trump, without to show all the truth and the real and organized dimension of the penal deeds committed by him concerning Japan, because he acted much and against Japan, and although another country controlled by the occult claiming to be friends of Japan, but who occult leaders working traitors for the occult group for Russia and China and against Japan, and wanted totally destroyed and had allowed the Japanese traitors who made cities and villages, neighborhoods full of them, that are organized as armies, because their business are helped by the leaders of the country serving totally the occult and betraying the country claiming they are friends, country serving totally the occult and betraying the country claiming they are friends, and they represent such countries. So not only wanting the destruction of Japan, but claiming exactly as South Korea that they will be friends. Maybe the simple good faith people in their soul, although they are lied and fooled almost all, but in no case the leadership and the state controlled totally by the occult group and working on Russia, China, also helped by South Korea who want to Japan destroyed. At last, Russia and China or Vietnam are known as enemies, not cunning, say, friends, and hidden huge enemies. As Buddha said, an insincere and evil friend is more to be feared than a wild beast, because a wild beast can wound your body, and an insincere and evil friend can wound your mind. Let's speak now about another scandals spread in the press owned by the occult evil group, who spread insistently news about some of them exactly for making diversion. It was about something common. with the case of victimizing Trump with little deeds, both of them working for Russia's spawn of the evil occult group and scandals created by themselves, about a Yong known for a long as doing penal deeds in other countries, coming from a family of the local mafia, respected and supported until then totally by the occult group, who drove, although the local police saw but without to stop him, a car being drugged and like that killed 2 young and 1 wounded and other by entering with the car in the crowd near the sea where they were in vacation. First of all, I think many of you may ease your cure. It's a huge diversion and was exactly made to keep attention on what scandal as many others, while to that family working for Russia attacked his own people and attacked Japan too, and the real perpetrators made to disappear like that. The perpetrator. As in the case of Trump, as is the modus operandi to hide the big deeds. So you remember what I said. In the Bible is written, when a blind leads a blind, shall fall both in the ditch. And there no money, people ask God sincerely for light, I insist sincerely. So, in the case of Trump, make America ruled again. The other example related not directly to election in Japan, but related to the same evil occult group who want to destroy Japan, including South Korea. The two examples are related through the fact and that they are both divinely vassals close connected by Russian mob, part of the evil group, the Gang of 14, and they organized crime spread against Japan but against all the world, and not alone, but helped strongly by their family, many of them being killed and put on money robots instead to be sure of the result of their actions. So, the second example, having in common the fact that they both are divinely vassals, but extremely cunning, enemies of Japan, although the first was promoted by the sect of Tanaka, like the traitor Abe, victim of the same occult who used him, made compromise end to the Catholic Italian mob. The devilish vassals create real or fake bad situation and diversions, while through those scandals and collective emotion, they mob activity and justify like that after some restrictions or bad decisions done against the people. And the second thing in common to the two, they are still connected with Russia's occult gang of the godfather of your former leader, means of the divinely vassals, Putin, who baptized my former husband, your former leader, blaspheming Alexander Cyprian to blaspheme to two saints, not to many saints. Saints Alexander are many, while they were, and Saint Cyprian too, while they worshipped a ram and said directly he took the baptism only for manipulating the people. So not to be fooled, the diversions are enormous, the deceptions too, and only in little case there are only a short conflict of interest between a mob of the occult from the section, as example of the Synagogue of Satan, and a mob of the part of the Russian occult group, and nothing else. Don't think somehow that the part of mass media who spreads such scandal is somehow a justiciary one, or is not involved with the occult, exactly of the occult spreads such scandal. That is exactly that the part of press or servant of the occult who spread that at order in such mob necessities and for diversion, or to fool the people when sacrifice in appearance one of theirs, only in appearance, that they do exactly the horrible things without occult. And don't marvel not if you will. Don't occur if in prison is our rules for an impersonator paid, the diversion be successful for their purpose, and the people hold. So, big attention, tightly close and connected to the Japanese traitors there, and with all the miseries happened, and huge number of traitor collaboration who come independent from abroad, as fake tourists come through the traitorous politic of Kishida, but through their help, not for living and working honestly, but for destroying the country, hidden for intention, with the complicity of the Prime Minister Abe Suga and especially Kishida. So marvel not, but be vigilant and watch the hidden part of the iceberg, because things are not what there seems to be, are not only the ones spread by the occult in such scandals, but are very related to Japan, and much more mob things than the spread once by the press. So the press owned by the occult was ordered to spread that about one, only that, nothing more, because the dead was too visible, done like that, and if that period, if they try to hide, the public blame will be against all the occult whose member abused the perpetrator and his family was. But after, when the scandal will be replaced with other scandal, with other emotion, you may be sure they will be made all forgotten without big consequence for the perpetrators, as usually in the countries controlled by the occult group, where the justice is invoked or applied only against the simple citizens or against the awkward or the evil group. And in such countries when people are fooled with diversion as protest organized by the occult group against themselves, in which is done nothing but scandal and house, instead while that hidden are passed even laws with dedication against the interests of the country and against the people claim to be represented by their parliament, the political class being served to the occult group, and people don't realize the discreet change of the law against their interest, but done in the interest of the occult, keeping their own attention on such scandals in a calculated manner. Honoré de Balzac said that the calculated evil is the worst of all evils, and as example, he was right. In the same manner, the historian Nikolai Yorga said that the snake is odious not because it bites, but because it hides the bite. As example, the cunning saint rents, but being the worst enemy, acting hidden. So, the occult spread only, in that last case I said, only about the double murder with the car-driven wild dragon entering in the crowd, because scandal being done like that could not be kept totally separate, and some collateral things about his parents spread by the ones from the group who did exactly the same things together with them, but as diversion and now at order, because they want to have occasion to show themselves what a righteous they are comparison with them, and what an innocent they are, and they judge one like them, but they do the same, and worse than that ought to be done, but they do the same. Better said, are who could not hide so good than them who do the same things together with such ones. Already all lawyers started to make to the subject good image, diminishing the importance of the deeds shown only them, and try to justify them and to change who lies the reality. And for him, things will be solved after the scandal will be replaced with other by their colleagues, and the prisoner must already hidden, and you saw he already left the place in secret, come back, marvel not if instead will be placed or was already placed a robot or a paid impersonator or make prison instead. Don't think they sacrifice such a useful pawn. But what concerns for the Japan and for the people of that country and for the whole world was not said, not at all. Of course, they have hidden all exactly as the wise Nikolai Stein had said. They hide not all the truth, but only the certain ones who thought that tyranny In that case, the tyranny of the occult who control and the country and act against Japan, and whose interests are claiming not to accuse the people they claim they represent, who are them, and also, of course, not to accuse Japan to be somehow a state more vigilant with them, because the occult group want to befool Japan, and in the future, as it was under Abe, Suga, and Kishida, or with the robot representing the dead Kishida after he was killed by those who used him to betray. Mind you, and marvel not, the perpetrators in that case, the Yong, and his father too, and his family of mob, are not only passionate of drugs and cause, but especially on motorcycles, being members of the organization of the Angel of the Devil, known internationally, apart working for Russia, who act against Japan, who draw the account of the emeritus Akihito and spoke miseries in his name, although he was already dead, but with Naruhito's help, and used a robot instead him, because the Emperor Akihito was already dead. He died at Mangalia, tried to search Aiko, crushed by Naruhito with the help of Yong with the airplane. And I was blocked and not allowed at all to speak. No one broadcast me for speaking the truth, only if I want to speak lies and betrayals, checked before, together with Naruhito, I will be allowed, but I could not accept something like that. So, turning our attention to that family involved in the scandal and their deeds, remember that the angels of the devil made also fake money collects, including on the social network accounts of the Emperor Emeritus Akihito, already dead but trolled accounts, and used by themselves, as in South Korea, the account of the press Noh that at Mangalia too are used as he is alive since almost 12 years. Although he was killed since the 12 years by Ryakil, and such fake collects of money, fraudulence, were made by the angel of the devil by trolling, including the account of the dead Emperor Akihito and on other accounts on their own interest, and fraudulent, including fake in the name of my daughter, their own interest, and fraudulent, including fake in the name of my daughter, and writing there, including that I am dead. And I, occurring such a fake collect, I answered on Facebook it was, look me, what dead am I? The dead speak to you now. I posted a comment and reported the fake, creating a situation by posting comment and comment to delete all, because they were not interested to show that the accounts are used fake. But I could not find out all their penal deeds, being many hidden, occurring one like that, I reacted in real time, posting comments to that write you and reporting the fake collects as fraudulent and asking people never to give money for such collects. But they did many dirty things, and in the name of Emeritus Akihito, and in the name of my daughters, and who knows, as they wrote, I will be dead, and other miseries done in my name, because recently I closed some accounts of mine seeing such attempts, and there are many about which I don't know anyway occurring. Now, some attempts of such miseries, I ask you, never collect, never give money in my name for money collections. I never did such money collect, and are all fraudulent if any. And for stopping the trolls, I asked anyone to be blocked some social network accounts of mine. The deceivers and the thief of the occult trying to use fraudulent my name for misery, but you know me about what I said and about what I do. So, to come back, the family of the drugged young murderer do with the angels of devil dirty things against Japan, and some of that family is involved with the occult group who they owned by them immobiliary agency and terrorist agency in the dirty traitorous plan of Kishida, recognized by Kishida himself before to be killed, who which in Japan were brought as fake terrorists on residence. Many people not sincere but unclearly proposed but hidden to destroy from inside Japan, to spread the betrayal, the corruption, to create chaos and to undermine the national identity of Japan, or make it easy to be it annexed by Russia according to the will of the evil local group, and their plan valid until my late husband died, pursued by them in order to be kidnapped, put again, and forced to act against Japan. And he died without to do that, without to have insulted by them against Jeep for becoming Japan, although they hijacked him in Russia and pursued him with Russian army, but he was protected by Most Holy Theotokos, by Saint Xenia of St. Petersburg, a Russian saint, and by the saints whose name he beard as Baptist name, Raphael, Ephraim, Mina. Then their plan mob against Japan was changed because in the week of my husband died, I was allowed to speak the truth to you, and as his widow, I warn you about that. And now Russia planned with China to divide Japan as islands and to annex both part of it, so big attention. And that mob family of angels of the devil is involved with the Japanese traitors in many immobiliar and terroristic traitors business, through which they brought spy, mob, and spread betrayal and corruption, cunning, through fake terrorists and investigators with that real hidden cunning purpose to destroy Japan and to destroy it from inside and to create chaos to undermine the national identity, to make easier the annexion of Japan by Russia, in which service they work. And of course, those things about the angel of the devil, part of the occultival group who acted and still act directly against Japan with spy and Russian occult and Japanese traitors, was not spread in that scandal. Of course, marvel not, because that was, as the wise Nikolai Stein had said, the part of truth who hurts that tyranny, a truth forbidden to be said. The tyranny being of the evil occult group who want to destroy Japan and to make dictatorship over all the survivor of the world, if any. And they wanted to continue to act against Japan for that. That's easy occur why they did not say the truth, because that hurts that tyranny, affecting their interest to keep cunning to deceive and still destroy Japan, bringing traitors, spy and mob there from abroad. So, big people who make from abroad immobilier and travel tourist business, and the officials in Japan having in charge such domains who authorized for that. Indeed, anyone is allowed to have private business, but it have to be allowed as long as he don't act against the state, as long as he don't undermine the state, and as long as he don't spread, calculate the betrayal, the corruption, and the chaos in Japan, acting directly against the state. So, to tell another real story from in that country from 2019, planned and done from in that country from 2019, planned and done to justify some restrictions, as I said, the modus operandi of the evil occult group, done against the people claim they represent by their leaders, affiliated, tied into the occult group, especially plans that diversion and done by the pawn of the evil occult in the benefit of one at origin Arab, infiltrated in the leadership of that country, and his accomplice making betrayal against the country as the higher level against such a country and against such people considered food as free. Only a diversion. So, the occult selected as actor in the principal role a young girl, the almost same age of the previous with the scandal I spoke already, and the young girl then was the granddaughter of a Stalinist torsionary who was, in the years of Stalin and after that, while the country in cause was so-called communist, the head of press censorship. And they staged that in a small city, that girl, that young granddaughter of the torsionary, was kidnapped by a human monster with a terrific face, that one making trafficker person, including women, near be there being an American military base, and the girl claimed them to be disappeared, kidnapped by the monster. Many people were made to scandal with big emotion and called to protest in the street for that, and to protest that the young are not protected, that the young was declared disappeared, and the press entertained and spread often faked with bones burned here and there to create new emotion and tension, and new protests organized by the occult against themselves, and where the poor people cried on mercy for the young disappeared, and with hatred against the myth of the monster, human monster, and they ending up to ask the old people ended up to ask restriction from themselves, exactly as the cunning pawn of the evil group, the Arab and his traitor accomplice at the highest level wanted to ask, and even the people restrictions, and including concerning the phone calls and the communication against themselves, and other restrictions for the totally control step by step. Do you want to know what was hidden? Please sit down if you stand, not to be dizzy or to fall because of me. The truth is only truth, as Gandhi said. It is self-sustained and never damages a cause who is just. So, the young granddaughter of Torsionary was since then in Italy, hidden, dealing well as part of the occult who asked to do that with the Italian mafia and the so-called monster, with intermittence of short presence for fooling robots and impersonator for fooling then and then from time and time, were since then in South Korea doing what he did the best, lies and traffic of person for the occult group he served, not disturbed. Unless a little short sequence of theater for fooling the people from time and time, but the restrictions against the people and the restrictions about the phone and not only remained and were used until now and are always according the wish of the occult of total control, and made place to other restrictions with the pretext of disease, with aberrant pretexts, accepting by such a people considering we now after that used with restrictions, and about which I told in previous conference, so marvel not. Here was, of course, South Korea's pawns of the occult group involved. The leadership occult pawns there being masters of manipulation, allied with the Italian mafia, accomplice in the case above, and with some United States pawns of the occult, and also with a big number of Russian ones, for which the grandfather of the girl worked with Stalin while Stalin an actor. The father-in-law is unfortunately since 12 years being killed by Yong, his relative, with a complicity of all his relatives of the occult, from sects, press, actors, and politics. Source of manipulation already dead, and he was, since dead 12 years, claimed to be alive. Yong, who staged his own death and teach Naruhito to do the same, in 2016, having many mob connection with the occult of that country, controlled by the occult, filled the world with humanoid robots and impersonators, working mainly for the Russian part of the occult, but helped, including by sorcerers or shamans of evil spirits. A little explanation. The good faith shamans who work with good spirits saw and felt firstly in the world the divinity coming on earth through the little baby Holy Savior as a poor newborn among animals, and guided by the Holy Spirit through the shining star, went long way and worshipped to him with gift of gold, incense, and myrrh. But there are also bad faith shamans who work with evil spirits and who are allied with sorcerers, acting in the evil group and friends with some like Yong, the devilish vessels, and not only. Yong become one of the symbols of the lie in the world, of deceptions, and of cunning, hidden blasphemy, with spiritual powers given by the devil, known by his collect devilish vessels. He changed with his gang and also with Naruhito, his friends, and holy relics in charges with totems of sorcerers to worship the believer fooled without knowing, to attempt the sorcerer to the realm. But the senseless ones don't understand that if the believers worship to a saint, wanting sincere to honor the saint and to kiss the relics of the saint, not wanting to worship the devil, even if they are deceived, the saint will understand God too, and they will receive help, despite their hidden blasphemy and deception. That blasphemer and religious mob, the Vice Marshal Yong, working for Russia, is involved with Naruhito in all what happened in his destruction to my late husband, and Yong with Naruhito wanted to destroy and Japan and my late husband, who was only General Colonel, never confuse the victim with the perpetrator, as some mob tried, including the devilish vassal Yong, who not only destroyed with Naruhito my late husband, but killed some of my family and other ones. And of course, she used a lot the map of South Korea, where he has many relatives. Only one was honest, the prisoner who killed him. The prisoner was killed by him, by Yong kill. And he killed him and used his image as alive for fooling the people and manipulating, including religious manipulation. I repeat again, the occult group make big deceptions, emotions, and spread scandals using even their members, involving them for creating collective emotion with psychological impact or diversion, especially the ones working for Russia are specialists in that. But also nowadays, the Chinese mob learn from them in the last time and create evil situation, even learn from them in the last time and create evil situation, even disasters, or using to create the disasters, the situation created by themselves, scandals, or to create by themselves situation and purpose for masking many evil things done while the scandal spreads, or for justifying many restrictions or bad decisions taken against mankind by the occult leadership in different countries or affecting different outer country without to be occult. And the example given to you with what happened in 2019 after the scandal with the global warming became used and a mob group passed the baton to other before to be started the huge scandal with the disease created again by themselves and used by themselves. The occult spread in the same country, controlled totally by them. That scandal with huge emotions in purpose to justify some restrictions done for tracking the huge emotions, in purpose to justify some restrictions done for tracking the phone of the people done by the mob at origin Arab and Dibili vassals from the occult but official pulling the country's people in many cases to take many restrictions with the pretext created by themselves without people to realize and to know about that, and before to be spread the scandal planned that. And the scandal had also as proposed to prepare through the restrictions taken with that pretext the people controlled by them to accept any other bigger restrictions the occult had already then in plan to take soon, being near and already planned to be started the huge scandal with the disease created by themselves, and that people handled them totally control as it was. And Japan was too after my former traitor husband killed control as it was. And Japan was too after my former traitor husband killed the Empress Michiko. The people of that country was among the ones extremely restricted by invoking aberrant pretexts claimed and proved after as illegal. About them I spoke already in other conference, saying things like that. Then, before to be killed, Empress Michiko asked to be retired, and Japan even to be as observer from the alliance, internationally alliance, who was saying that is not built anymore the purpose for which the alliance, including the United Nations, were done, and Japan is not partaker of fakes, and that without her to know that such alliance who allow and encourage that are filled of robots and that such alliance who allow and encourage that are filled of robots and impersonators of the evil group, replay with impersonator and humanoid robots while they stayed hidden or are already dead, and the evil spirit acts to such deceivers as the whole evil local group who use humanoid robots, impersonator, having as modus operandi the deceptions, and who worship those evil spirits. The world is full of human clones, humanoid robots, and impersonator, aesthetic operated or not, with the face of dead leaders and dead politicians or hierarchs of any religion or well-known businessmen, even in show business where it is used often the playback, but in that domain, things are not as dangerous as is when the impersonator and humanoid robots replace politicians and any leaders with decision capacities, plundered or not, asserted or not, but acting against billions of peoples and affecting millions of lives in the whole world. And I recommend to all the new elected in Japan, including the one who will be elected now, if you don't want to end up destroyed as my late husband was destroyed by reaching a state of robot, destroyed like that by Naruhito, Yong and the gang of Putin, the godfather of Naruhito. If you don't want to reach without even to know as that, to destroy Japan and the people who trusted in you and give you their vote without to realize to make evil to them, if you don't want to act against Japan and against your own families without to realize, if you don't want to act against your future without even to occur that, be extremely vigilant, including what you eat, and don't allow any sign of deception, of cunning, of corruption, any attempt of deception or corruption near you, and act firmly against the first sign of betrayal attempt, being very attentive, because the traitors in the last time are extremely cunning, and the devil to which worship and the whole world occult group serve is claiming in all religion the cunning, and ask God for light, even the atheists, Saint Sylvan said, ask God for light. Quote, Saint Sylvan Ivanovich Antonov from Athos. We must always pray that the Lord would guide us what we must do, and the Lord will not let us go astray. Adam did not have the wisdom to ask the Lord about the fruit that Eve gave him, and for this he lost paradise. David did not ask the Lord, it is good to take Uriah's wife, and he fell into the sin of murder and fornication. Finish the quote. So to ask God for light, not to ask light from Russia and from other country. And I add, David, indeed, he did not ask them for light, but after he repented and became pleasant to God. As the same Saint Sylvan said, the atheists, if they are sincere and say, Lord, if you exist, give me light and I will serve you all my life, for that good intention, for sure they will receive light and help from the light of the world, John 8:12, from God. So a Russian saint asked us to ask God for light, not to ask Russia for light, or to be manipulated, or to ask those of nowadays who been part of the evil occult group and showing themselves as righteous, make what another Russian saint said, Saint Ignatius Branchaninov, quote, they serve Satan under the guise of a hypocritical service to God. Finish the quote. And it is very disgusting to see and the manipulation with fake news in which the occult try to fool you, as example that Kim Jong-un forbade the faith. He was a huge devilish Pharisee, working hard and too for the occult group, firstly fooled and after serving the Catholic religious mafia, and after thinking it is trendy to be Orthodox, and asking me often, although I occurred and say to him, he is cunning, he asked me to sing to him religious songs, and such Pharisees forbid the faith. Disgusting. But the occult do and senseless thing in their pathetic wish to start a global war for that new global order so much wanted by them. As Shakespeare said, the devil also used the scripture when he wants to achieve his goal. And now, another provoke of the evil occult group, this time personally. As many others I never told you, but that I tell you about that, and you will see why I reveal that. An ordinary deceiver, thief and plagiarist from the evil occult group working for China and for Russia too, but firstly for China, and friend with the mob leadership of China, tried the second time to plagiate my doctoral thesis. First time he was stopped by Naruhito himself because I made scandal finding out, and he had no choice, and they were let known, and the two emeritus who reacted with scandal too for defending me. He had no choice, and firstly, Naruhito himself stopped the plagiarist. And now he provoked and tried again, although the doctoral theses are written for decades before and was exposed in the library since then. If someone from China who loves his country hear me now, please notice that if the Occult Group is able to fool you, saying that if China invade or control other countries will be good for the people, they cannot fool you that if a friend of those who led China, as example from Romania, as is the dirty who tried until now 2 times to steal my work. Already my work is old for decades and was exposed. He tried now again with those people to steal impersonally, benefit and fraudulent. They cannot say that helps China. So China and our friends as highest level and work with such ones. And the Japanese proverb say, if you want to know the character of a man, look at his friends. And the Romanian proverb, because the thief and deceivers working for China's leadership is Romanian but betrayed his country, being for a long past and condemned, but now is received gladly. So to speak about on it his language, although he betrayed Romania for a long, but now betray and China and make it to have a bad image in all the world, betrayed and China after he betrayed Romania working for Russia and China, and made in other times, as I said, and prisoned in other times. So the good faith Chinese notice and the Romanian proverb. Who is that? Tell me who are your friends, and I will tell you who are you. If you don't want any innocent Chinese to be spit by other people, not guilty being, as nation, because of your leaders and their friends like that, who do that with such things and to others, not only to me. Tell to your mob leaders that if they want, they can't fool you that invading other countries and controlling them can be good for you, even immoral, the people of China. But they cannot fool the people of China, saying that a friend of the leadership of China tried to steal and plagiate an old doctoral thesis made since decades, stealing it in personal interest will be good for China, but will destroy the image of China with such offense, and they cannot see that will be good for you, because the penal perpetrator is friend with your leadership and make evil like that to the image of China, and also before he betrayed and Romania for China, and now they want to betray, to destroy the image of China. And your mob leaders cannot fool you, the Chinese people, that are Romanian thief, plagiarists, deceiver, and traitors, can do good acting like that to the image of China, whose friend he showed himself to be. Many innocent Chinese people suffer because they mob leadership, and many others are fooled by their leaders saying that they want to be imperialist, exactly what Mao Zedong rebuked and was disgusted about it. They can fool you that they, by invading or trying to control other country, is for your good, although it's a huge lie confirmed and by Mao Zedong. But you have now a concrete example that destroying the image of China in the world by allying in personal interest the leadership of China with ordinary thieves and deceivers, plagiarists in personal interest, they cannot say they help China but destroy its image, and you as a nation will suffer in vain, not guilty for that. So ask your leaders never to allow to cooperate, to keep already the appearance with such ordinary thieves, because they had no excuse to destroy the image of China abroad with such many people, and cannot fool you saying that by cooperating in personal interest with such thieves are good for China's image. And that is a perfect proof who are the friends of your leaders and why the Chinese serious workers are suffering and in many cases are hated because of their mobile leadership being not guilty themselves, the common people, and are hated not only in China but in the whole world. In China they are under restrictions, and in the whole world are hated, not guilty. That is your leadership, those are their friends. Only thieves and deceivers as that example. And the leadership of China destroy the China's image, showing themselves with such good friends, thieves, condemned, but now received as best ones. In Romania, they don't need such friends if they don't want to use to destroy the image of China. And no one react as provoke for such a thing. No one as well as such provokes, but all who suffer will be China's image in the world. So tell your mob leadership, if they don't want to occur all people their real face, never to cooperate anymore with such deceivers, to keep at least the appearance or maintaining the appearance of a good image in the world for China and for the poor common people who is not guilty, excepting the mob. If they want to fool you at least a little, that they come about China with such friends destroying its image in the world, and that even more taking account that they could not drink by such an ordinary penal deceit, because it has within the thesis, the doctoral thesis, being interdisciplinary in forensic medicine, criminalistic, penal science, criminology, and judiciary psychology, with cases solved concretely by me personally, with details known and written by me and working by me personally at my job. And although I teach generation of students in that domain, and although in other domains of public law, constitutional law, administrative law, and science of administration, and general theory of state and law to many faculties, too many are my former students who know that. And the stupid penal friend of your leadership think they can fool someone like that, but exactly as he tried to deceive and betray Romania, now he wants to use and destroy China's image, and plunder it, but fooling it and destroying your image in the world. So tell it to your leader. They cannot fool you if they say that they invade for you. They cannot say they steal impersonally interest for you by allying with such thieves, but destroy your image with such friends, so to keep at last the appearance not to have a leadership who worked in peace through such alliance against China's image on face. Anyway, as David, symbol of Jews, mocked by the synagogue of Satan, in Revelation 2:9, they are named. They say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan, part of the evil group. So, as David said in the Psalm 9, 16, 17, Lord is known by the judgment which he executes. The wicked is snared in the work of his own hands. Haggai Selah. The wicked shall be turned into hell, and all the nation that forget God. Or the Psalm 64 KGB, 63 other version. So they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. He does himself choose to plagiate as an interdisciplinary piece with concrete, practically cases done by a single person who teach about that generation, many of them being magistrates, lawyers, and other jurists. What a stupid modus operandi, what a stupid choice for him, but unfortunately for the China's leadership to destroy totally the image of the country, suffering innocent common people, not the mob leadership. So the Chinese ain't got faith. If someone hear me, I recommend to occur through that how much their leadership mob fool them through all, not only through that. Now, about Mary Antonia Alexandrina, I wanted to speak when I came with her and about her name. The occult wanted her dead even before to be born, with the directly help of the actions of Naruhito, who not only tried to kill her mother pregnant with her many times, but tried to kill both and through mob doctors when she was born, and she was declared dead, and admirers of this he corrupted officials to refuse to register her birth, although the baby was brought physically there in their face. Seeing that alive they refused to register, and all only for killing her after. She was registered only because a public scandal made by showing their abuse and corruption with common people in crowd, seeing that abuse attempt repeated, and after because of they registered, being accused by the common witnesses, they keep the people in warmth through abuse, refusing to register the birth of the baby, endangering all them because they refused to register her. After that, they tried 2 times to delete the registering, and before she was declared dead in hospital, and after the doctors tried in a trying attempt to delete the birth registration, tried to force my daughter to abandon her, saying she will die, deceiving she has disabilities and will die like that. Of course, she refused, but realize how pathetic are the occult. After my former husband, your traitor former leader, tried to kidnap and kill her directly, sending me message that he will kill her if I don't come back to him. But I think no one can believe such lies, because he wanted anyway to kill her, with me or without me. And at his godfather Putin and his friend Kirill, and also at his order, some devilish vassals, disguised in priests, members of the same occult group, who hide and kill babies, but in the face in their churches crowds of full believers. Honor them as God, refused to baptize her in the same purpose to be sacrificed for evil spirits, but she was baptized and has big saint protectors. Only like that she is still alive after the huge number of miseries done against her daily. As her name says, she is protected by the two saints military Mina, the first Egyptian who was martyrized in big torments at only 24 years old. The torturers asking him to betray God, and he died in terrible torment for him, being former military. I repeat, at 24 years old. Many people confuse the two saints Mina, and he made many miracles after his death, his feast being 11 November, and Saint Mina the Athenian, the Greek, much older, who was head of army, lived after the first, but was martyrized as him too in Alexandria like the first, having in charge that territory in the function from which he was imprisoned and martyrized in torments for Christ too. His feast is at 10 December, and he called many people there at faith, making miracles since alive, because he asked the Lord to show his power through him for calling people at faith. And through his torment, that saint martyrized exactly as the young saint military Mina from Egypt, showed the power of the Lord in his own body, because the torturers taken out his eyes and parts of his feet, and Lord, while the martyr being still alive, replaced them. Both Saint Mina died tortured in Alexandria, refusing to betray God. Saint Anthony the Great, whose name the baby bear too, fought directly with the devil and was the one who teach us not to fear the devil, because the devil must ask permission to God even to enter in pigs, as I detailed in previous conference. And he won the devil in that fight, and also the Catholics had too, and a saint with that name who lived for Lord Christ's body and soul all his life, Saint Anthony of Padua. And the third name of her as protectors, the many saints called Alexander, some of them here are blasphemed by her traitorous grandpa, your former leader, my former husband. And such example, 3 hierarchs as Saint Alexander from Alexandria, from Constantinople, and from Jerusalem, some of them even martyrs. About Saint Alexander of Constantinople, whose feast is coming, I can say he is a model from my life. I thought from his life, better to die than to do something against my conscience. Just a moment, she occurred, I speak about her, and came to me. Just a moment to show you. She came again to me. Please pray for her. Saint Alexander fought against the Pharisees and heathen blasphemer priest Arius, who spread heresy and fooled the believers exactly like the occult Pharisee, but although the sectors do today, the Pharisee manipulated people pulling through faith without spreading in appearance heresy, but pulling through faith and manipulated, and the sectors spread heresy, but both do the same evil work for the same occult being hidden friends. The antichristic sects who manipulate as those from South Korea with the symbiosis politics religion created by politicians and with politicians like them and say they are Christians. And although the other sects, including those who blaspheme most holy Theotokos, the saints or as Jehovah's Witness, Mormons, the Potter's House, and others who are directly the descendants of Arius and deny the divinity of Lord Christ, are extremely different by the Japanese shamans who felt firstly its divinity since he was born, but the sextars make those heresies working totally for the evil occult group. About Saint Alexander of Constantinople, I mention it because the past is coming. I thought from its life that he fought with Arius' deceitful actions and with himself, with help of Saint Nicholas, Saint Spiridon, and other saints called Alexander too, and many other saints. But when the deceiver emperor, fooled by the cunning Arius, whose descendants are today the religious manipulators, and especially the Jehovah's Witness, Mormons, the Potter House, and all the sects denying the divinity of Lord Christ but called Christian, for fooling the people and spreading the anti-Christian idea of symbiotic state church in their occult interest of control total of manipulation. When the deceived emperor ordered to him, being hierarch at Constantinople, to receive Arius back in the church and to give him the Holy Eucharist, although he hidden and cunning kept the blasphemy against the Lord, but wanted to come back for manipulation and fooling the believer, Saint Alexander of Constantinople asked the Lord in big prayer better to take his life than to reach the situation to receive the cunning blasphemer and to give him the Holy Eucharist at order of the emperor, and that he asked the Lord either to die himself before or to die Arius. And because of his conscience, it's better to die than to do something considered by him wrong in his conscience. And Lord listened and made Arius to die before in a shameful manner. I wish to all of you to think as Saint Alexander of Constantinople, even more, because the Japanese proverb say too, better to die than to live in shame. Do not drink from the fountain of thieves, even if your lips are thirsty, and there is nothing more expensive than something who is free. If you receive any illegal order given by a corrupted leader, to apply for your honor those proverbs and what asked God, Saint Alexander of Constantinople, better to die than to make something against your conscience, your angel guardian. And saying his faith and his pure soul and good intention, God made justice, because he is never corruptible. And before to die, when he was asked to recommend his successor, Saint Alexander of Constantinople, choose which of two candidates is really righteous and which act only in appearance, and which of them is for real worthy and who are hidden. So, as Gandhi said, in matter of conscience, the law of majority has no place, and there are moments in your life when you must act, though you cannot carry your best friends with you. The still small voice within you must be always the final arbiter when there is a conflict of duty. And that made Saint Alexander of Constantinople, but also prayed. Like many other saints, including hierarchs, martyrs with that name, who fought and prayed to God, and whom all your former leaders, serving the evil spirits and the ram, baptizing, deceiving with that name, and taking the baptism for that from Kirill, having as godfather parting, only to fool you, to fool the people of Japan, and to make it, quote, obedient through faith, as himself recognized that, but not in your face. And now, when the truth was revealed, as Gandhi said, the truth is self-sustained and never harms to a cause who is just. Remind that. Coming back to the baby's name, disgusting deed that the occult follow her through sorcerer and devilish vessels in crowds, as example in markets, in public transport, even in churches, and use the occasion to come quickly near and touch her with misery or scare her, but often they act cunning and provoking, attack her not only paranormally and physically, and after creating the fear for baby, trying to make scandal for having pretext the crowd to kidnap her because she cried, scared by the hidden cunnings, claiming with impertinence they want to help her. I am disgusted by such devilish provoke. If someone wants to help a child, doesn't touch a baby without permission with misery, doesn't scare the baby by attacking, neither physically nor paranormally, doesn't disturb her and purpose when she sleeps wisely. But the devil in all religion is named cunning, as the occult serve the devil, including their rags, the sorcerers, all disciples of the Ram, and those who are mentioned as in Revelation, who fools and use real Jews who love God, who say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. Revelation 2:9. I mentioned some religious aspects at the beginning only because it comes to fast of the Saint Alexander of Constantinople, blasphemed by your former leader, taking his name for manipulation, and whose name is borne by his own granddaughter, wanted to be killed by himself. And now, although I spoken before about the religious manipulation, to speak a little and about the Catholic, because in the last time I often see deepfake in the name of Lord or deceiver of the evil group speaking about fake news in Greece. A Romanian proverb said, "The thieves so catch the thieves." As Lord Christ said, "He who has ears to hear, let him hear." And the light of the world is Lord Christ. Bible, John 8:12. And Lord also quoted and the prophecies of Daniel and warned about such times, especially in the Holy Gospel of Matthew 24:24 and Matthew 7:15-23. And St. Paul warned in 2 Thessalonians 2:8-12 about that. And then shall that wicked be rebuked, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and destroy with the brightness of his coming, even him whose coming is after the working of Satan, with all powers and signs and lying wonders. And with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they receive not the love of truth, that they might be saved. And for this cause God shall send them strong delusion, that they should believe a lie, that they all might be damned, who believed not the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness. Unfortunately, the prophecy written in Daniel 9:12, especially in Daniel 12:11 and 11:31, is valid for all the Christians, and in the Bible, when Lord Christ quoted him in Matthew 24:24, are not written neither about Orthodox nor about Catholic, and the ones who believe in Lord Christ are named in the Bible Christians. Acts 11:26. And the disciples were called Christians first in Antioch. Acts 11:26. So, the prophecy being invoked for all the Christians nowadays, it will be useful for the good faith Catholic not to allow to be manipulated or brainwashed by the occult group, with fake news, being extremely vulnerable at those mentioned in Revelation 2:9. They say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan, and who defy, and the Psalm 106 of David about the human sacrifice and about worshipping to the Lamb. They try to fool and use the Jews through manipulation in the name of faith to ask God for light, to ask that light also to Most Holy Virgin Mary and to the saints, to Most Holy Theotokos, better said. The prayers, if sincere, through that they will receive light and divine help. And they want to remember to the Catholics that they have a big saint, a martyr at origin Jew, a blessed Jew, who, seeing through the Holy Spirit the plan prepared by the synagogue of Satan for fooling the Jews, warned about that, and after died martyr, keeping his huge love for their fellows. And he was gathered in the concentration camp by some ascendants of the evil group, being today, including of the synagogue of Satan. I spoke about Saint Maximilian Maria Kolbe, who predicted you what will happen to Vatican, but many of you either don't know, ignore, or forget. He was a blessed Jew, and God through the Holy Spirit warned him to say about what will happen at Vatican to all, and he felt, and the infiltration of the synagogue of Satan cunning among the blessed Jews who love God for fooling and for using them, and also the influence planet of the Italian mafia predicted and now became a mafia without border, as Emperor Akihito said. Abe was a proof and a sad example that the Italian mafia reached territory even in Japan. So pray to Lord, pray to Most Holy Theotokos for light, and I recommend you to invoke insistently that saint in your prayers for light, to see the true and to see whom a sincere and real Christians of any kind should not give primacy. As you know, in the Catholicism, more religious mob since the Saint Diana were then, and she struggled to help. The Saint Diana struggled to help to fulfill Saint Dominic to fulfill his mission to spread the word of God, despite the fact that the religious mafia supported him. So to pray to all those saints, and also to Saint Francis from Assisi, who lived only for Christ and was filled of love for him to show you the truth. As the seventh apostle James said, James 5, the effectual fervent prayer of a righteous man availeth much. Elias was a man subject to like patience as we are, and he prayed earnestly that it might not rain, and it rained not on the earth by the space of 3 years and 6 months. And he prayed again, and the heaven gave rain, and the earth brought forth her fruit. Finish the quote. Many sects doers and blasphemers, working for the occult and claiming they are Christians, some of them blaspheming Lord, Most Holy Theotokos, the saints, and serving hidden the occult and political interest, and also spreading the antichristic idea of a symbiosis state and church. Look in the Bible, Mark 12:13. 17, and St. Paul, Galatians 1:6-9. They fool the believer and realize that if Lord Christ will be leader of a country or will make compromise with politics, he will not be crucified. But he was crucified by worshippers to idols, not on their will. Pilate did not want that. Look, John 19:12. And even Pilate tried to set him free, but Pilate was threatened and blackmailed by Pharisees who betrayed their own people, making compromises with the occupiers of the country only to achieve his goal, his personal dirty goal, the crucifixion of Lord Christ, whose thoughts said and spread about them, disturbed them. Look, the Bible, John 19:12 and John 19:15. So they sacrificed their whole country and people, making compromise with the occupiers, with the political powers, and claiming they recognize the occupiers as leaders only for their own dirty interests, as many Pharisees nowadays. And also in the Bible, Luke 13:29, it is written clear that, quote, they shall come from the east and from the west and from the north and from the south, and shall sit down in the kingdom of God. It was Luke 13, and also look, Matthew 8:5-13, quote, and when Jesus was entered into Capernaum, there came unto him a centurion, beseeching him and saying, Lord, my servant lieth as at home, sick of the palsy, grievously tormented. And Jesus said unto him, I will come and heal him. The centurion answered and said, Lord, I am not worthy that thou shouldst come under my roof, but speak the word only, and my servant shall be healed. For I am a man under authority, having soldiers under me, and I say to this man, go, and he goes, and to another, come, and he comes, and to my servant, do this, and he does. When Jesus heard it, he marveled and said to them that followed, Verily I say unto you, I have not found so great faith, no, not in Israel. And I say unto you that many shall come from the east and west, and shall sit down with Abraham and Isaac and Jacob in the kingdom of heaven, but the children of the kingdom shall be cast out and into outer darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. And Jesus said unto the centurion, Go thy way, and as thou hast believed, So be it done unto thee. And his servant was held in the selfsame home. Such sincere faith and prayers to God I wish to you all. And now I wish to all wisdom, light, and peace. Ask God for light. Vote now all with your heart, from your heart, and for your future. Because as Gandhi said, your tomorrow depends entirely on what you do today. I pray for Japan. Defend through your vote, your freedom, and all you worked to save it until now. I will finish again with the quotes of Gandhi. God as truth has been for me a treasure without price. May he be so to every one of us, and be the change you want to see in the world. To all, in the name of Japan, Heiva, peace. I pray for Japan, and I thank you.